Sarah Ferguson comforted Princess Beatrice this afternoon as they left the committal service for the Queen. The Duchess of York was seen walking out of St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle with her eldest daughter and her husband Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi just after 5 p.m. Beatrice, who was seen crying during the state funeral at Westminster Abbey earlier on Monday, appeared upset as she made her way from the chapel. Sarah linked her arm as they walked, while Edoardo had his arm around his wife. The committal service followed a procession of the Queen's coffin as crowds lined Windsor's Long Walk. Earlier on Monday, Sarah joined her daughters Beatrice and Princess Eugenie and their husbands for the funeral service at the Abbey. The Duchess of York was among wider members of the royal family gathered in the 2,000-strong congregation alongside presidents, prime ministers and royalty from around the world. Sarah leaves St George's Chapel with Beatrice. Image, Getty. The Yorks arrive at St George's Chapel for the committal service. Image, Getty. Sarah, her daughters and their husbands at the committal service. Image, Getty. The Duchess of York makes her way inside Westminster Abbey on Monday morning. Image, Getty. Sarah put on a brave face for her mother-in-law's funeral. Image, Getty. Sarah gives a small smile as she arrives at Westminster Abbey. Image, Getty. Prince Andrew walked in a procession from Westminster Hall to Westminster Abbey. Image, Getty. Beatrice and Eugenie leave Westminster Abbey following the state funeral. Image, Getty. The York sisters leave Westminster Abbey. Image, Getty. Emotional Prince Harry looks wistfully across aisle to family at Queen's funeral. Prince Harry was spotted looking emotional at the state funeral service for his late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. During the service, the Duke of Sussex was spotted looking over towards his brother, Prince William's family amid their alleged family feud. See the video here. Sarah, known affectionately as Fergie, looked elegant in a black coat and fascinator for the solemn occasion. The Duchess's ex-husband Prince Andrew took part in the procession with King Charles and other royals from Westminster Hall to the Abbey ahead of the service at 11 a.m. Charles and his siblings Andrew, Princess Anne and Prince Edward marched behind their mother's coffin as it travelled the short distance from where the late monarch had been lying in state for the public to pay their respects. Prince William, Prince Harry and Peter Phillips followed. The state gun carriage carried the Queen's coffin as hundreds of military personnel took part. Crowds lined the route for the display of pomp and pageantry. During the service at the Abbey, Sarah was sat in the second row behind gate. Commenting on the seating arrangement, royal expert Richard Eden said, "It's a reflection of the remarkable rehabilitation of Prince Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah, Duchess of York, that she's been given a prominent seat directly behind the Princess of Wales, in the second pew at Westminster Abbey." The Queen's coffin was carried inside the Abbey by the bearer party of Grenadier Guards. Image, Getty. Members of the royal family leave Westminster Abbey after the service. Image, Getty. The procession along the Long Walk towards St George's Chapel in the Berkshire town. Image, Getty. Key moments you may have missed at the Queen's funeral. Royal family members attended the Queen's state funeral on Monday, bidding farewell to their mother, grandmother and great-grandmother. The first service was held at Westminster Abbey, with a second taking place at St George's Chapel. Key moments from the service you may have missed include, King Charles III left a touching note for his mother on top of her coffin, Princess Charlotte wore a significant piece of jewellery to honour the Queen, Prince Andrew fought back tears as he entered Westminster Abbey behind the coffin procession, Kate, Princess of Wales lovingly reassured Prince George by resting her hand on his knee. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry comforted one another, holding hands on their way out of the funeral. The doors of Westminster Abbey opened at 8 a.m. as the first guests began to arrive. Image, Getty. A view inside Westminster Abbey as guests take their seats. Image, Getty. Crowds lined the streets of central London ahead of the funeral. Image, PA. Sarah was in Venice when Buckingham Palace announced the Queen had died peacefully aged 96 at Balmoral on September 8. Andrew's ex-wife paid a deeply personal tribute to her mother-in-law that day. She wrote on Twitter, "I am heartbroken by the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. She leaves behind an extraordinary legacy, the most fantastic example of duty and service and steadfastness, and a constant steadying presence as our head of state for more than 70 years. She has given her whole life selflessly to the people of the UK and the Commonwealth. To me, she was the most incredible mother-in-law and friend. I will always be grateful to her for the generosity she showed me in remaining close to me even after my divorce. I will miss her more than words can express." Full schedule for the Queen's funeral. Image, Express. It comes after the doors of Westminster Abbey opened at 8 a.m. as the first guests began to arrive for the funeral. Earlier on Monday, the Queen's lying-in state period at Westminster Hall ended at 6:30 a.m. Her coffin was taken in a military procession from the Palace of Westminster to Westminster Abbey for the service at 11 a.m. as crowds lined the streets of central London. Heads of state, prime ministers and presidents, members of European royal families and key figures from public life were in the 2,000-strong congregation at the church. Millions of people across the country watched the proceedings on what is a national bank holiday in the UK. Trending following the service, which ended at around noon, the coffin was taken in procession to Wellington Arch before setting off for Windsor. Once there, the hearse travelled in procession to St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle via the Long Walk, where a televised committal service took place. Later in the evening, there will be a private interment service with members of the royal family. The Queen's final resting place will be the King George VI Memorial Chapel, an annex to the main chapel, where her mother and father were buried, along with the ashes of her sister, Princess Margaret. Her beloved husband Prince Philip's coffin will move from the royal vault to the Memorial Chapel to join his wife,